The longer you stay, the harder to get out, and the more damage you do into yourself by staying in there. But it's just a vicious cycle with narcissists because they act so nice and they go through this circles where they're super nice, and then you think everything is fine and everything will be fine, but then they suddenly kind of like hit you in the head. And then as soon as you think you have to leave, they trick you again. They start
Yeah.
being nice again. And then you so confused in this cycle, but you shouldn't be because they won't ever get better. When they get their worst, that's what they are. That's who they are. And when they're being nice, it's actually not really them being nice. They just try to keep you.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Negotiate Your Best Life. And today I'm so excited to talk to Olyasha, who I got to meet in Atlanta in person. And wow, is she stunningly beautiful and such a genuine and authentic person and just amazing. Her life has been absolutely incredible. She was born in Eastern Ukraine and she came to the United States when she was 17 years old and didn't speak the language. She was, came over here. Can you imagine coming over here and not knowing anything? But she came over here. She was finishing modeling school and thrust into this country. And then was being bullied and overcame so many different things. And now she started this amazing blog that has blown up. And she's become one of the top fashion models and working with huge nationwide brands such as Cartier, Too Faced, Tarte, CoverGirl, name it. And she's worked with it so many things that she's accomplished, but she's overcome so much. And she's going to be talking about what it's like to overcome bullies and narcissists and how she did it. And she's an author too, by the way. She's written a book and called Cutie the Unicorn, and she's going to be talking about that too. And so, welcome, Olyasha. I'm so excited to talk to you. I love your story because it's so near and dear to my heart. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be in your show, and I was so glad to meet you as well in Atlanta on the conference. And you made such a great introduction, so I really appreciate that.
Well, you are a superstar. You're a superstar in so many ways, not just because of where you are now, but to me, you're a superstar because of who you are inside and what you've been able to overcome. I mean, because I know what it's like to be, feeling voiceless, feeling overcome, feeling powerless, feeling like, all these people are coming at you. And I want you to take us back to that place where you first came over here and you were that kid, basically. Take us back to that.
So I was bullied in school back in Ukraine when I was growing up for my style, for my fashion, because my mom would always dress me fashionably. So of course I was bullied by teachers and classmates too. And even when I graduated from high school, the last day of the school, my principal mentioned what we're gonna do without our fashion role model, Olia. And it was they were mocking me all the time and trying to kind of dull my sparkle, but I still didn't let them to get, I mean, didn't let them to put me down. I still had to fight for my rights sometimes because the girls were so mean in school, and they were physically attacking me sometimes. So one time when I actually stood up for myself, they stopped. And now
Mm.
later on when I came to US and I established my brand, and I actually found my principal on Facebook and I told her, well, thank you for doing this to me, for bullying me in school for my fashion, because now it's my career.
Yeah, that's so funny. I actually, in my book, Slay the Bully, How to Negotiate with a Narcissist and Win, I actually ended up thinking the bullies in my life too as lessons, because they do become lessons, right? But it's not easy when you're sitting there and you feel voiceless and you're in that moment and you're feeling like, in some ways, I think in that moment, because, I was bullied too for being different. And I think in that moment, you just don't want to be all that different, right? But, you realize as you get older, being different is good, right?
Yeah, and that's actually what my brand stands for, not basic blonde. And the main slogan of the brand is be yourself, be unique, never basic. So, and basically, it started after 2020 when all the brands and all the people started kind of going with this movement of not basic, because before everyone was so afraid to stand out and they were just liking. Even when I was starting my brand back in 2017, I did not have many supporters because my brand would be too bright and too different for basic feed. And that's why after, as my brand grew and as I developed more and more following, of course, I had a lot of supporters, but not till like close to 2019, because that's when actually perspectives started to change. And even after COVID, it grew to the huge movement of not basic and be yourself, be unique, never basic. Every brand out there is saying that now, like, stay true to yourself, be authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take you back to, as a teenager, as a kid, or whatever. How did you process those feelings?
Oh, it was hard. It was definitely hard and so offensive because I thought I'm like different, not like everyone else. And also, I thought that something is wrong with me. Why are they laughing at me? I want to be like everyone else. And now it's like, no way. I don't want to be like everyone else. I like the way I am. And I like to stand out. And always, I'm tall. So even if I wear something casual, well, casual for me might be dressy for other people. I always stand out, and always people ask me, like at the store or at the mall or anywhere I go, they ask me, are you a celebrity? Where did you come from? Like, what do you do? So I
Yeah.
would always stand out, and I would always had those haters that would try to mock me because I would be standing out from the crowd. And I had those people who would admire me because I stand out. So it definitely was hard emotionally, but as you kind of grow through the stages of your life and kind of navigate through this, you actually learn how to deal with it. But in the moment, in that time, for many kids, that's why I read in children's book, it's so hard to deal with bullying. And it's just they kind of feel helpless because they don't know what to do. They don't even want to go. I had days when I didn't want to go to school because I just didn't want to deal with it. And some days when I was going to school, I was sent home to get changed to something more casual because I was too dressed up for school.
Yeah. So, to those kids who are being bullied right now, what would you say to them?
I would definitely say you can't take it close to your heart because the haters are your biggest fans, and they just they like you secretly. They want to be you, but they don't admit it. That's why they're picking so hard on you. And you can't let it get to you. As soon as you let it get to you, you give them their power. I mean, you give them the power, and you can't do that. And it's better to definitely just be yourself and not to let anyone to dull your sparkle, because you have you and you're talented and you have your skills and talents for a reason. And don't try to kind of like deplete them and kind of blend in. You don't have to blend in. It's like you're not weird, you're limited edition. This is one of my quotes that is stands right now on one of the billboards in New York. So
What is the quote again?
you're not weird, you're limited edition.
Ah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, there's only one of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's only ever going to be one of you.
Yeah, so you have to embrace your individuality.
Yeah. I mean, you are valuable. There's only, I always say like there was a 1 in 300 trillion chance or something like that that you were ever going to be born, and there's never going to be another you ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, there's haters, they're actually secret admirers,
Yeah,
like why are they paying attention to you in the first place?
exactly. Because they secretly like you. They want to be like you. They want to repeat after you, but they won't show it because they're too weak inside or too hurt. Usually bullies are very hurt inside or they have something going on in their own lives. They're not happy with their own lives. That's why they have to take it on somebody. They have to make somebody feel small for themselves, for them to make themselves feel bigger.
That's exactly right, which is exactly what a narcissist is.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who feel good about themselves aren't trying to make other people feel small,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Yeah.
When I had to deal with narcissist, I was narcissist in relationship for a few years, and it wouldn't wrap like I could not wrap my head around how would you even let yourself treat someone. But I guess for someone who is that small inside, it's okay because that person has no values or has nothing inside that it can let someone, I mean, it can let himself to treat someone like that because I would not be even able to treat someone like that.
It's so
Because
true.
to me, it would be just, of course, it wouldn't be normal, but I wouldn't even be able to come up with the ways to do something like this to someone.
Yeah. It's like you wouldn't even be thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you started even like you when you were dealing with the industry, there were narcissists in the industry that you had to negotiate with as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. And so many brands steal my ideas too. Recently, one of the brands stole my idea and came out with a collection exactly word by word what I sent them in the proposal, and they didn't give me any credit for it.
Uh, and so how do you deal with that?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out the better way to deal with it, but it has to be like, I guess, some legal team involved in it because that was not what is supposed to be done. It was not cool to do that.
Yeah, totally. So how did you then start, growing your brand? How did that all start coming about?
I was very consistent. And when I started, well, first when I started, I was kind of trying out and trying to see. And after I became very active on social media and I was very consistent, posting like twice a day, every day for sure. And I was posting like kind of bright content and brands started to notice me and started reaching out to me and offering me partnerships. So one after another, I had I've done many partnerships after, and of course, I built a community. So I had women reaching out to me. They love my style. They love what I do. So I had many supporters at that time. I mean, and now too, of course. And after in 2019, I started my podcast, Not Basic Blonde podcast, entrepreneurship celebrity podcast, where I had entrepreneurship guests. All of my guests are celebrities, public figures. And my podcast really grew in COVID because everyone was at home. Everyone wanted to have a promotion. So I had lots of guests, very famous guests, and that's how it started. So, and also, since I've done modeling before, I used to walk on runways during fashion weeks. But now, since I have a blog, fashion blog, and I have a brand, Not Basic Blonde, and also fashion editor for Fashion TV. So I also attend Fashion Week I mean, fashion weeks as a host. I host fashion weeks sometimes, or I just attend fashion shows as media or press. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so you were able to build this brand and really start growing it and becoming successful. And talk about how you can, you know, be your own advocate.
As far as inspiring yourself every day, or
Yeah, and instead of worrying about giving away your own power to others.
well, some people do can make you upset, but it's just if you let them. If you don't let them to get to your skin, they won't, because it's just up to you to take it or not. People can say whatever they want to say. It's their opinion. Your personality and your self-esteem should not ever depend on anyone's opinion, because it's not who you are. It's just their opinion, and their opinion, they go based on their own personal beliefs and on their own personal knowledge and standards. So it doesn't mean it aligns with yours. It doesn't mean you have to accept it. So anything can happen on the internet. Anyone can say anything on the internet, but it doesn't mean you have to believe in this.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree. And do you think that women have a harder time than men, like climbing the ladder?
well, everyone says it's a men's world, but nowadays it's not. I mean, women are pretty dominant in this space now. So it's not like, I mean, they're still, I feel like some men are kind of more mild than women as far as business skills and just growing and climbing up.
Yeah. Talk about tell me about your book, Cutie the Unicorn.
Yeah, so because I was bullied in school, as I mentioned earlier, I decided to write a book to kind of inspire our younger generation that it's okay to be different, it's okay to be yourself, and you should never judge. So that's why I wrote a children's book, Cutie the Unicorn. It's okay to be different, and it's available on Amazon. So in back, I think in 2020, that's when I read the book. And yeah, I got a lot of I got this idea in the second so unexpectedly, and I was like, I have to write it. I got an idea on Saturday night. Saturday nights I usually try to relax, not to think about work or anything, and I had this idea coming up in my head, and I was like, okay, I have to put it down on the paper. And then I actually shared the story with some of my family members, and they were like, wow, that's a great idea. And of course I had my artist teams, so they were doing all the artwork already for me, for my brand as well. So I already had them on board. So I just told them what I wanted to implement in life, and they did it. So, and that's how the book came to
So
life.
it's about a unicorn who is different, right?
Yeah.
And is he bullied or
Yeah, she was bullied because she was different. She did not look like other animals. Well, she's a unicorn.
right? And
Yeah.
so it's sort of like you felt like or what I felt like, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And why did you decide to have it be a children's book?
Well, because I was bullied in school and I just wanted kids to feel normal if they're feel like they're different, or if they feel like they're standing out. I just wanted them to show them that it's okay and it's normal and it's nothing wrong with you. It's just you're different and you're maybe talented or maybe just look different or feel different. So it's totally normal. You don't have to feel any less for yourself about it.
Yeah, for sure. And have there been times in your life that you have dealt with, you know, other narcissists, in business?
I mostly had them in personal life. In business, not as much, because I guess people are, well, I had at work when before I started my brand, I graduated from Georgia State University with managerial sciences degree, and I went into IT project management field. So I've done 8 years of IT project management before I started my brand, and
Oh,
I
wow.
with
I bet
so
that
many.
was really helpful in doing your social media and that, right?
Yeah, because I manage huge projects for telecom companies like Sprint, Verizon, Alltel, AT&T, Cricket, and all the famous
Wow.
telco companies. So yeah, and I had to deal with a lot in the workforce too because I did not look like everyone else that works at the office, and they always would try to tell me like, "Oh, what are you doing here? You don't belong here because like you don't look like a
Yeah.
project manager." I was like, "What do you mean? If I have brains for it, I am here for it, and I did it better than others, so I don't have to dress terribly or look terribly to be smart."
Yeah, I bet that was a huge benefit for you when you were starting your blog and that though too.
It was definitely because I had so many skills and a lot of business experience from being in that field.
So what was the worst narcissist that you dealt with in your personal life as an adult?
Well, relationship I had a few years, a relationship with narcissist, and yeah, that's terrible. Definitely ruins your self-esteem and puts you down to the ground. And even they don't pick narcissists don't pick like someone who is not successful. They pick the hardest and strongest and the most successful individuals, and they try to put them down as lower they can, so it makes them feel great. And I dealt with it for a few years, and it was definitely terrible. And I had to pick myself. I mean, I had to kind of get myself back together after this because the self-esteem was ruined, and I felt very depleted, and I felt totally out of it because it just, I mean, someone makes you feel crazy. They are crazy, but they make you feel like you are, with gaslighting, with all this mind games, with all the tricks they play. It's just crazy what someone can do. And they act totally normal in public. So no one ever would ever think that they can even do that. Not in their family, not their coworkers, not their friends or anyone, but at home, they're a totally different person.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
and
deny them like, "Oh no, I never done it. I never said that. Are you crazy? No, I never said that. What do you mean? That's what you said. Oh no, I never said that. What?"
yeah, and they make you feel like you're the worst thing. And then in public, you are acting more and more crazy, and then they're more and more calm. And so everybody thinks that, they're the nice, normal, calm one
Yeah,
and
super nice in public when like,
charming,
yeah, and nice
charismatic.
to random people, super nice. I was like, why do you even act so nicely to these people that you will never see again? Why you don't act to someone at home like you are acting to those random people outside?
Yeah, interesting. So, and how did you end up getting out of that?
It's just like a lot of therapy. It took me a lot of therapy. I had three therapists because I couldn't even handle it myself. It was hard.
Well, how did you even figure out that you needed to get out of it?
Oh, because I was not myself totally, and I had anxiety, panic attacks, and I definitely felt terrible about myself, and it was just not healthy at all. So my family and everyone, they knew I needed someone to navigate me through to get out of this.
Mm. And did that person ever end up trying to come back? And you
Oh
know,
yeah, there were many times coming back and forth.
yeah. And so then, what ended up happening with that?
It was a really long story, but the person kind of changed after because I changed and I did not put up with bullshit anymore. And they could not actually use their power anymore over me, so they become powerless. And after it was fine, I did not really care much anymore.
Yeah, like the stronger you become, the
Yeah.
less power they have,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, because that becomes, I always say authentic power always beats their fake power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for somebody who's in a relationship like that now? Because that's my community.
Well, definitely you have to have therapists on board because if you just try to navigate it through by yourself, you won't be able to because you don't see some of they use it over you, and only professionals can see that. And definitely, as soon as you see any red flags, get out because the longer you stay, the harder to get out, and the more damage you do into yourself by staying in there. But it's just a vicious cycle with narcissists because they act so nice and they go through this circles where they're super nice and then you think everything is fine and everything will be fine, but then they suddenly kind of like hit you in the head with, something crazy. Like they're totally random actions. And then you think, oh no, you have to leave. And then as soon as you think you have to leave, they trick you again. They start
Yeah.
being nice again. And then you so confused in this cycle, but you shouldn't be because they won't ever get better. When they get their worst, that's what they are. That's who they are. And that's what really their true personality is. And when they're being nice, it's actually not really them being nice. They just try to keep you.
Mhm.
So
You're right.
definitely can't stay.
It's push pull, push
Yeah.
pull, push pull.
It's constant game, and I'm just like so shocked how person can constantly think about it of how to hurt another person so
Mhm.
bad and how to play the game. Like you have to be always thinking about this, like who has time and who has like that much energy to think about the game all the time to hurt your loved one.
Yeah, I know. I know. But that's such good advice. It's such good advice. And I want to just thank you for being so honest and being, so willing to be in conversation with me about that. I mean, I'm sure it was painful for you, but it'll help a lot of people.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. I know that, you were a listener of mine, and that's why you had actually approached me about being on your show too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love your podcast as well. You have great stories too.
Yeah. So thank you. So what other advice would you give to people about, how to become stronger and how to show up for themselves?
Like I mentioned before, don't pay attention to what someone says about you. That's not you, that's their own opinion. Do not take it close to yourself. Just you have to be strong inside and you have to know your worth. Like you have to know that you're beautiful, you're smart, you're confident, totally you're successful. Do not let negative talk to affect you because it's easy to believe in it, but don't believe in it because it's not true. It's just someone trying to hurt you and trying to put you down so they feel better about themselves because they already feel down. If they try to put you down, they already feel like they're worse than you are. And that's why they're trying to put you down so they feel better about themselves. So do not let them, do not give away your power and always know your worth and always never believe in someone's opinion because that's not who you are.
Mm, such good advice, such good advice. And thank you for being so willing to be so real and raw and honest and authentic here. And you're such a beautiful person inside and out. And I just absolutely love that about you. And we will make sure that we put everything here in the show notes about you. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Where can we, do everything to make sure that we show up and learn more about you?
Sure. My Instagram main account is not basic blonde underscore. The podcast account is NBB podcast. And you can download my podcast, Not Basic Blonde podcast, on all the major podcast platforms. You can find my book, Curing the Unicorn. It's okay to be different, on Amazon. And my blog and my website is notbasicblonde.com. So, yeah.
All right. Everything will be in the show notes. Make sure you go follow her, subscribe, check her out. She is amazing. I absolutely adore you, Olyasha. This was so powerful. So powerful.
Thank you so much. I
So
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. I just absolutely love you. I love your heart. So thank you.